modified Robert Rules of Order for the conduct of the meeting. The way that will work is a resolution will come to the commission. We'll ask the city clerk to read the resolution. Then we'll ask that the city planner will provide information and the city recommendation on the resolution. Then there will be discussion among the commissioners, followed by, if the applicant is present, we'll ask the applicant to come forward and present information with regards to the resolution. At the conclusion, and there may be questions by the commissioners, and then following that, we'll open it to everyone present if they want to come forward to speak for or against the resolution. And at the conclusion of that, there will be more discussion. We'll have a motion, second, and then either approve or deny the resolution. At this time, I'd ask that everyone present, there's a sign-in on the table in the rear there. I'd ask that you please sign in with your name and address and the information requested. And the other thing, when you present information to the Planning Commission, it is you're sworn in, and so I'm going to do the swearing now. If there are no objections from anyone in attendance to the aforementioned meeting procedures, would everyone please stand and raise your right hand and be sworn in? Let it be known that all persons present to provide testimony at this 10 January 2023 meeting of the Planning Commission hereby swear or affirm said testimony will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. All those in agreement, please say I do.
I do.
All those opposed, please say opposed. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, the first order of business is a roll call. If you could call the roll.
Gary Koenig.
Present.
Shannon Brandon.
Here.
Brad Bupp.
Here.
Eddie Harvey.
Here.
Joe Wilson.
Here.
Okay, we have 5 commissioners present, so we have a quorum. At this time, the next item of business is the meeting minutes from December 13th, 2022. Are there any additions, deletions, recommendations in regards to the meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 13th, 2022?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022. All in favor of approving the minutes indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022 are approved. There is no old business. Moving on to new business. If you could read resolution number PC 1-23.
A resolution requesting a certificate of appropriateness for a new sign at 114 West Ash Street.
Before you, there's an addendum. The applicant requested a revision of their original design. And what's on the screen, it's basically inverted, and the background is black and the text is white on the main wall sign. So the 2 signs are included are the wall sign that's above the awning and then the vinyl decal on the door. We reviewed this preliminarily at the last meeting. We kind of went over the details of it, and it's a pretty simple design and a pretty simple ask. I did go to the library's history department to check out if I could find some of the history on this building itself, and for whatever reason this one's missing, although it does look like it's been around for a long time, so I'm not sure why it's not cataloged yet. I do think that I guess maybe to describe a little bit, because I met the applicant, Jessica, on site, and I'm staring at the wrong thing. The black one is the better one to look at, but the sign is going to actually be raised off the face of the wall a bit, so it's going to have some texture to it, even though the design itself is pretty simple. And I think that was meant to represent their aesthetic and their brand, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Happy to answer any questions, but the applicant is here to do so as well.
And what is the staff recommendation?
I do recommend approving the request.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, is the applicant present and would like to present information to the commission? No, you don't have to. Okay. That's fine. Any further discussion on resolution number PC 1-23? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve BC 1-23.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number PC 1-23. The Planning Commission has studied the request, conducted a public hearing on the matter, and has established as fact that the proposed change preserves distinctive stylistic features and examples of skilled craftsmanship of historic buildings and other historic assets, achieves the high design quality sought within the downtown historic district, is compatible with the general economic development policies of the city, will not threaten the general health, safety, and welfare of the public or properties affected, and conforms to all other applicable plans, policies, and regulations of the city. At this time, could you poll the commission?
Shannon Brandon,
Aye.
Brad Bupp,
Aye.
Eddie Harvey,
Aye.
Joe Wilson,
Aye.
Gary Koenig.
Aye. Resolution number PC 1-23 is approved. Moving to resolution number PC 2-23, if you could read the resolution.
A resolution requesting a certificate of appropriateness for new paint colors at 320 and 322 North Wayne Street.
And could we have city report, please?
So I have, Bethany, would you mind passing this up to Shannon? So there is, I'm trying to count pages. In the application, there's a rendering. It's a little bit dark. It's this page right here. Get down here. So the whole, the proposal is to repaint the entire exterior and to, with the more tan color in general, and then highlight many of the details of the facade with the darker color. Mr. Schmidlap is here. I believe there's window replacements involved here as well. Window and siding, and the siding is on the like interior. If you walk through the kind of alley that's there, there's an extension of the building, or it's part of the original, but that's where the siding would go. And I have the Ohio Historic Preservation Office did report on this structure at one point in time, and that is housed at our history department. The structure is in a Queen Anne style. You can see that originally there was where that semicircle is on the front, it used to have a full window there. Same thing with a semicircle on the side. On the lower portion of the structure, I think the main differences between what you see today and the and in this picture here, which isn't dated, I'm not exactly sure when this was taken. There was a striped awning that definitely changes the look a lot, and then on the south side of the building, the window has a totally different design. It was definitely replaced since this photo was taken. I guess you could date it by the car, but I can't. Maybe like 80s, something like that.
It's older than that.
Something like that, guys. So I do recommend approval of the request. I've sent around the actual paint chip colors to look at, because I think that they always turn out very differently from what our printer does and what you can see on a screen. So it's nice to have those actually physical copies.
What was the recommendation?
For approval
Okay.
of the request. I think that everything that's being changed right now, to my lights, a lot of this building has changed since, I don't know, it was not necessarily original, but since people probably thought it looked really cool and we want to capture that moment in history. I don't know what it would have looked like exactly at the time it was built, but it does seem like since the windows have been replaced and everything else, this paint job that was done, to me, looks like it's minimizing all of the architectural detail that's in the building. And so going through and doing some individual highlights of things, while it's probably not as good as fully reinstalling that semicircle window and everything else, it will do a lot to boost the character of the building.
Any questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, would the applicant like to come present and present any information?
I'm Steve Schmidlap. I guess back in the day, from what I could figure out, there was front porches there, a doctor lived there, lived upstairs in a one-bedroom, nice apartment, and then had offices downstairs, and then, that was back like when there was a foot of water there, 1913 flood. Then they enclosed in the porches and stuff. But I've, been meaning to do some stuff with this building for a while, and the city grant came up. It was very attractive, and so it kind of jump-started what I was planning on doing. Things slowed down a little bit, but we're back on track.
One for administrative, when you introduce yourself, could you say your address?
1241 East Bentley Circle in Troy, Ohio.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions from the commissioners?
What windows are being replaced?
The big flat ones up front, they're old, and we just need to clean up some of the drafts and stuff going in there.
Are they being replaced just like it looks in the picture here? Like kind of a plate glass?
Yes,
Yeah,
plate
okay.
glass, yes.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
I appreciate the city grant, and Kirsten and Bethany is easy to work with, so appreciate that, having them on your staff.
Yeah, and you're going to replace the soffits, and it
We're
would
gonna do the
really, it
soffits.
would really look better, I think.
It will. I mean, they did the Y right behind in our back alleyway, and, across the street, they did that. So unfortunately, I'm the one on the block, but hopefully we'll change it. I mean, the other ones are concrete buildings, the Eagle printing is nicely done, and the other one at the corner, so.
Very
Just
good.
trying to bring it up a little bit better and then also the left side is kind of a storage area now, and we're gonna get that so, we can rent that out for a storefront.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Any other questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, do I have a motion on resolution number PC 2-23?
Move to adopt resolution PC 02-23.
We have a motion and a second. The Planning Commission has studied the request, conducted a public hearing on the matter, and has established as fact that the proposed change preserves distinctive stylistic features and examples of skilled craftsmanship of historic buildings and other historic assets, achieves the high design quality sought within the downtown historic district, is compatible with the general economic development policies of the city, will not threaten the general health, safety, and welfare of the public or properties affected, and conforms to all other applicable plans, policies, and regulations of the city. At this time, could you poll the commissioners?
Brad Bupp,
Aye.
Eddie Harvey,
Aye.
Joe Wilson,
Aye.
Gary Koenig,
Aye.
Shannon Brandon.
Aye.
Resolution number PC 2-23 is approved. The next item of business is resolution number 3-23. You could read the resolution?
A resolution to appoint a planning commission member to the housing council for 2023.
This is an annual appointment to a board that's created to administer the community reinvestment areas of the city. We've got 7 of them, and they are areas where you can reinvest certain amounts of money into the property, meet a few other criteria, and basically get tax abatement in return as a means to help finance a project. So the planning commission statutorily must designate some appointment to that body every year, and it's 1 meeting per year. In this packet and this agenda, we've held off on doing all the other appointments, and we're gonna do that. I think March is when the city commission should have all of their appointments done for all of their other boards, including this one, and we didn't want to. March is also when we're going to shuffle our seats as well. So Gary, I think you're the one who's sitting on
I
this
am
board.
currently on the Housing Council,
Yes.
and I'd be glad to do it again. Like you stated, it's 1 day. It's an important program, provides tax abatement for people in the city that invest in their properties, and on the improvement, they provide abatement on the improvement. So it's well worth the time.
Bethany, you don't know the specific date it's going to be, right? It's not scheduled?
I know it's in March.
Okay.
It's usually middle of March.
The only reason I say that is this is also your year that you would have to reapply for the planning commission.
I've already reapplied.
True, but then we just have to wait for the city commission to get all through
Commission
everything.
has to,
I think it should be fine,
well.
because they're slow, to be honest
it's up
with
to
you.
the commission, though.
I think
That's true.
you're gonna not, we shouldn't have a gap, most likely. Or does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So at this time, we would entertain nominations for the Housing Council.
I would nominate Gary Koenig.
Second.
We have a nomination and a second for the Housing Council. Are there any other nominations for the council? Oh, well, we have a nomination, a second. Let's do a voice vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm the Housing Council member from the Planning Commission for 2023.
Thank you, Gary.
That is our last agenda topic, unless there's other business. Is
Little
there any
bit.
other business?
There's a little bit of other business. Tomorrow evening, you guys are invited to a training with the Heritage Ohio representative who's coming to give us do some Q&A on our design review. His name's Frank, and we're meeting at 5:30 here. And Lorna Swisher will be there, so we'll have local guidance as well. It's going to be a very good meeting, and if you're not able to attend, I will write notes and make sure that we're kind of all on the same page. And maybe we can reconvene again and talk about what we've learned, or if we have any additional questions, I can forward to him.
I'm personally looking forward to it. I think
Great.
it's a well-needed forum.
Excellent. And then the only other thing is this is going to be Bethany Harp's last meeting. She's been promoted. She's a development analyst with the development department, so she's no longer going to be hanging out with us every week.
Well, congratulations, Bethany, on
Thank you.
behalf of the
I'll
commission.
miss you
Approve that
guys.
with us, though.
Yeah,
We didn't prove it.
Yeah, we'd like to keep her where she is.
Sorry. Me
I
too.
hope
Come
they're,
on,
I hope
Joe.
they're gonna pay you more for your promotion, I
Maybe.
would, maybe.
I hope they get you home early for concerts when you need to go, too.
Thanks,
so.
thanks, I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Well done, thank you.
Yes,
for your
thank
help.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Who's the new poor victim that's gonna come in?
Well, I might actually be one-man showing this, so please have mercy on me. I will be really scatterbrained. We'll see how it goes. So,
You can handle it.
thank you, Brad.
I've got one question on,
Yeah.
on future packets.
Yeah.
When we get a item or a building that's in the historical district, is there a way we can have listed on there whether it's an actual historic building or if it's been altered to beyond that? So when we go to look at it, we'll know the classification of that property in the packet?
It's not, I don't think it's a checkbox type of thing so much as a sliding scale on, all the things that can happen to a building over time. But I tried to detail that in my staff report as far as, I can see that this has changed, from then to now. I don't know that we have some kind of formal way to check something off the list that's not, this has been eroded to some really high degree that we don't concern ourselves with it. Usually that's a comment from the board members themselves.
Right.
I can help more than I have been on some of that stuff.
Well, it would be just nice to know on, as we're looking at it, if it's the, because sometimes you're not sure. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
Most of the times it's obvious, but sometimes it may not be on certain ones.
And that also would be a good question for tomorrow's meeting with the Heritage Ohio as to, at what point has the remodeling occurred to the point where
Right.
it's not so important that we withhold
Right.
to these standards, That'd be a good question.
Yeah.
And the thing is, on some of them, I may think it's one thing and, someone else may think it's another.
I mean, I did ask Lorna, first of all, this training is gonna benefit me more than any of you, to be honest. This isn't my specialty either. But I asked Lorna, is there a point in time where it stops feeling like you're guessing a little bit, or that it seems a lot more clear cut, or, you've just seen enough of these that you get used to it? And she said no. So we'll see. I think that there is a little bit of discussion that ends up happening with each of these, and I think that's going to happen within the meeting a lot of the time.
Right.
So,
Jim Oda was good
Right.
when he was on the board because
Yeah, he was.
he would know the history of these buildings specifically.
Yeah.
So, for example, when something was renovated and changed, he would say, well, it was remodeled in the 70s or whatever,
Right.
along with a lot of other buildings and things. So I think if we have something that's specifically very important, then maybe we return to him
yeah.
to get more of an in-depth history on,
Right.
specifically local history on that.
Yeah.
I
can
think
tell you
I didn't-
architectural history stuff, but sometimes that's not that,
Yeah, but-
that's not local importance,
Yeah, and it just, a lot of times we are guessing a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. When it was Shannon, I think you replaced Jim's seat, and you've got your skill set too. I just didn't realize right at that moment what skill set I had just lost. And the very least I can do is be going to the library and getting the catalog that they have, doing some basic analysis. I'm looking forward to the training to see what it is we can glean from that. It's still not gonna make me a historic preservationist or an architect or Jim Oda. That would take lifetimes.
Well, none of us want to be Jim Oda, so.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
If he's willing, I will call him up in his retirement and ask him questions about,
Wake him up, he'll do it.
yeah.
Very good. Anything else?
The only thing, I just wanted to add one thing, that for tomorrow's meeting, if I could make a suggestion,
Please.
I would post it on the website.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's true. We are all meeting. It's not just, it can be open to whoever wants to come. So, yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Sunshine strikes again.
That's a great comment, thank you.
Yeah. It's good you watch out for us.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you don't want to mess with the state when it comes to that.
Yeah,
okay.
I never think of that.
Anything else from the city staff?
So we won't vote for our seats here until March?
Yeah, so we pushed our appointments back because we kept getting delayed every year because the city commission takes, they just do it on a, I don't know if this ever was in sync or not, but their appointments tend to happen around springtime every year. Ours was always set to January 1st. And then we would be waiting for appointments, or we'd have just like a strange amount of disconnects. So we just made our policy language a lot more flexible so that we can just do our one-year appointments for the most part in the spring. Housing Council, it can't work that way because that meeting happens in March, so we don't want to be unprepared for that.
Do we have to do anything to extend Jim since his original legislation had him being done by the first of this year, right?
No, we're fine. Everything's fine. Policy-wise, we said that terms end at a different date when we pass the new policy
Okay,
document.
all right.
Any other questions? Anything else from the city? Anything else from anyone present? Hearing none, do we have commissioners, anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?